Did you have another question, Nadine?
No, that was good. Thank you. And I apologize. I think one of the things also in looking at your website, you offer a plethora of information, and I'm trying to get a feeling for where should I really plug in.
Mm.
I see that you have the Wealth Income Network, and I looked at that. I was a little bit hesitant because I said, "Am I ready for that?" But how can I possibly have a conversation a little bit to say which one of these things I should really get engaged in?
Well, number one, you're in the right place. Chanel is in the chat. So if you are interested in the mastermind, she's the person that can get you started where she can help you assess whether or not this is something for you. And
Okay.
then also, if you're talking about like baseline beginner stuff, and I don't get to mention it much, but if you go to blackmoney101.com, that was something that I put together to kind of be like, okay, if I'm beginning and I just don't know what to do next, let's start with Black Money 101 because it's more of an introduction to the power of money and just really how to process and think about money. And then you can get to the point of actually applying money in a specific way. You know, money is like, I think of wealth like being a chef. There's a thousand different ways you can cook a meal. Thousands of countries, or hundreds of countries anyway, that have a thousand different ways to cook chicken and pork and beef, and so really just having a universal idea of like what it means to even cook a meal and how that can vary across countries is a great place to start if you're going to be a chef, right? So I would say the same thing is true here. You're working to become a financial chef. Let's figure out what it means to even understand where you are, where you're trying to go. How do rich people get rich anyway? Where they get their money? Like a lot of people think that they get their money because they get these really great jobs and high incomes. Jobs don't build wealth typically.
Mhm.
Jobs are a great way to get student loans and lots of stress in most cases. And you get a paycheck for sure. And sometimes the paycheck is pretty good. But if you really pay attention to wealthy people, they operate kind of in this whole other kind of reality. But it's not just for rich people. Like they're not acting that way just because they're rich. Sometimes they got rich because they acted that way, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? Like, like if you look at the way a Rockefeller thinks about wealth, they're not even getting up thinking like, "Oh, I can't wait. I got to be at work by 9 o'clock." They're really looking at offshore accounts and LLCs and trust funds and diversified portfolios and who they can hire and all kinds of stuff. And in fact, it reminds me, and I'm probably gonna sound bougie when I say this, but I thought about this today. There's a lady who came by and did some work for me and my wife, and she's really smart. And she was doing something. I'm real messy, and my wife, as a Christmas gift, she says it's a gift to me, but I think it's a gift to herself. She hired this organizer to organize my office, and I was like, "But I didn't ask you to organize my office. I like my messy office, but she didn't like it, right?" So anyway, so I went along because it's not happy wife, happy life, but I kind of was like, "Okay, I'm gonna pick my battle on this." All right, yes, ma'am. What would you like to do? So the lady's going through the house and she's doing stuff, and she's making good money. She's making like $100 an hour to do this.